Hey guys, and welcome back to another mini manga reviews. Today I actually have 6 to review, which is more than I usually have, and we're going to kick things off with Hitorijime My Hero Volume 1. We have Masahiro. He's our main character. He hates superheroes and heroes in general because they never came to save him as a kid. That does change, however, when Kasuki appears in his life. Masahiro was in with a bad crowd. They make him do all of the grunt work, but then he meets Kensuke. The two of them rescue a kitten together. They take it back to Kensuke's house, where it turns out that Kensuke's older brother is the bear killer who is going around taking out all of the gangs, basically. He ends up becoming Kasuki's underling and Kensuke's friend, which is where we join the story now that he's in with the two of them. This volume moves really quickly. We meet all of the characters, get some background, and have a rejection all within the first chapter. Was not expecting the rejection, but then I ascertained that it was just a strategy to, you know, kickstart the romance. Character-wise, we have Masahiro. He kind of has a crappy home life, but he is very, very good at doing everything for everyone else. And he starts to question his feelings for Kasuki after the rejection, because, you know, as far as he was aware, he wasn't interested in Kasuki at all. Honestly, Masahiro is just freaking adorable, okay, if not a little bit of a pushover, and I'm kind of excited to see if that's going to change a bit and if he's going to, you know, grow a bit of a spine. Kasuki is the other male lead. He is a teacher. He is a badass. Rejecting Masahiro was his strategy to get Masahiro interested in him, and I'm interested in getting to see more of him and getting to know him a bit better. Kensuke is Masahiro's friend. I actually find him completely hilarious, especially when they draw him with the big puppy dog pleading eyes. Kensuke is another character that is just freaking adorable, and he and Asaya are hilarious opposites, but kinda cute. Asaya himself is kinda aloof, but I'm oddly rooting for him and Masahiro to become friends in the coming volumes, because, you know, he worked out what was going on before everyone else, but he is kind of a little shit though. I have to mention the gang members though. I know they're bad, okay, but they were oddly sweet, worrying about Masahiro all this time, and I kind of want to see more of them. And speaking of the gang, we get plenty of action and tension as the gang catches up with them and brings Masahiro back into the fold, and the drama as Masahiro wants to distance himself from Kensuke and Kasuki. This first volume establishes the relationship between the two of them. We have a lot of realization and feeling examining. There's some action, there's some drama. It introduces us to the characters, and it has some cute and funny moments too. But obviously things aren't going to be all smooth sailing for them, so I am wondering how long it's going to be before the shit hits the fan. But this is a really great introductory volume to the series. Quintessential Quintuplets. I like the sense of intrigue we immediately had with this, as we get a little commentary from future Isegi before we go back to the past when the actual series takes place. Our main character is Isegi. He is frugal, he is a total loner, but he is also super smart. But because he needs money, he takes on the job of tutoring a fellow student. He thinks it's 1 student, turns out to be 5. Because quintuplets. He has to get them to graduate, but he kind of makes a pretty bad impression on all of them from the start. Got to hand it to him though. His determination knows no bounds. Each of the quintuplets is very different from the other personality-wise. We have Itsuki. She is the first one that we meet. She and Isegi do not get on to start with, and so she becomes determined to study and to pass by herself. We have Ichika. She is kind of straightforward, and I can't decide if she's just a total slob or really lazy. Yotsuba is tenacious. She is the friendliest out of all 5 of them, but also the dumbest. Miku is the quiet history nerd who loves the warlords. Would label her as the smartest at this point, to be honest. We get to know her the most in this initial volume, and she doesn't really have much self-confidence. Then we have Nino, who is the social one and the evil one. She absolutely hates Isegi, and she is the one that makes his life a misery the most. There are some funny moments in this, but I did really cringe for him a couple of times too. The art is nice and cute. I like the character designs. Allusions are made to what went down at their previous school and why they had to leave and come and start at Isegi's school. It was clearly very, very negative, but it was kind of a little bit of a disappointment because it turned out that they just flunked out. This first volume successfully introduces us to all of the main characters, establishes the differences between each of the quintuplets, and establishes their own different personalities. It gives us some background on our main character as well as on the quintuplets, but we only really delve into the character of one of them, and I'm assuming throughout the coming volumes, maybe with 1 volume per quintuplet, we're going to delve into the others. But it sets everything up and sets the scene ready for the battle that is going to be getting them to study. He's definitely got a very long road ahead of him. But all in all, it's a fun and entertaining first volume and wasn't actually what I was expecting either ten dance. I'm gonna be upfront and say that this isn't an art style that I usually particularly enjoy, but it was easy to move past it. The costumes and the dances were really beautifully drawn, and I was definitely pulled into the story enough to overlook it. Basically, Sagiki challenges Suzuki to the ten dance, and the ten dance is a competition where they do all 5 of the standard ballroom dances and all 5 of the Latin ballroom dances. Sagiki and Suzuki have a year to teach each other each of the 5 dances that they specialise in, and you know, they're dance partners too. I was intrigued by this one because of the ballroom dancing aspect, and I wanted to give it a chance to see if it was going to be better and more interesting than Welcome to the Ballroom, and it is. I got on a lot better with this one because we learn a lot about ballroom dance just in this initial volume, which I'm actually quite interested in because it's a style of dance that I never actually did, and all I really know about ballroom dancing is what I have gleaned from watching Strictly when I'm too lazy to change the channel. We all know that this is a BL manga, but there's actually not that much romance in it, or there isn't in this first volume. Like, compared to Hitorijime My Hero, which had the relationship established like that straight away, this one does not. I'm getting the vibe that this one isn't going to be in your face on the romance front. Sagiki is one of our 2 main characters. He specialises in standard. He is a world champion, but only at 2nd place because it would appear that the competition is rigged. He is the one that appears quite cool and composed and kind of almost a little bit aloof or maybe rigid. I'm not sure how to describe him. And then you have Suzuki, who specialises in Latin. He is a national champion. He has a bit of a fiery temper and his awkward blurting is hilarious. Basically, Suzuki's father and Sagiki's mother both own dance schools and they completely hate each other. And there's a lot of hatred and rivalry between the 2 dance schools, which I'm assuming is going to come into play and be an obstacle later down the road in the romance. I did really like the way the ballroom dancing knowledge was brought in this volume. It is all thanks to a reporter called Urashima. He obviously covers dance. He is a fan of Sagiki's, and it's thanks to him that we get a lot of our ballroom dancing knowledge, as well as how it stands right now with our main characters' careers, along with what we learn about dancing in general throughout the volume thanks to our main characters. I actually felt like this was a great first volume. It has plenty of funny moments and it gives you the basics and everything that you need to know about the 10 dance competition and ballroom dancing in general without overloading you with information in one go. We see the main characters start to work together and become a little bit closer, and Suzuki gets a lot more serious about learning standard than he is when we see him at the beginning of the volume. This first volume has definitely intrigued me. I enjoyed how it was drawn, even if I didn't necessarily like the art style, and I'm excited to see how it's going to play out because obviously I can't wait to get to the actual competition part and to see them kick ass and hopefully win, but we have to actually get to that stage, and obviously we're going to have to explore the characters' relationship a bit more. It kind of starts a little bit in this one, but like I said, it doesn't appear to be completely in your face and the main focus of this yet. Next up is The Kid I Saw in My Dreams. We have our main character Senri. His parents and his twin were murdered and he is on a quest for revenge, but you know, first he has to find the person who did it. So it's lucky he kind of gets handed a clue in this volume, isn't it? The opening's a little bit chilling. It's all about the murder and what happened and what sent Senri off on his quest for revenge, and it very quickly throws us into things. Senri is quite the little vigilante, or at least it seems so, until you find out the truth of his little scheme. As you would expect, judging from the synopsis, he seems quite morally grey so far. The twist about he and his twin was a really nice surprise that I wasn't expecting. It made things a bit more interesting. Senri is being low-key thwarted in his quest for revenge by his friend who's trying to stop him from committing a crime, which is another interesting little twist, and I am intrigued to see if he's gonna actually go for revenge and kill someone, or if she's gonna pull him back a bit. I liked the way we switched smoothly between the past and the present, seeing what happened, seeing him gather the first clue in the present, seeing how he became friends with his friend, and so on. I will admit I did actually find the past more intriguing than the present for a good chunk of this first volume. This does move fairly quickly. There is a lot to hook you in and intrigue you. I have so many questions. Who is the killer? Why did he do it? And so on. Some of these questions are probably not a surprise, but there's even more by the end, thanks to a little twist. The thing is, while I am intrigued and do want to know what happens next, I didn't really like the art style, particularly for the female character, and this volume didn't especially wow me, and I spent a lot of this volume kind of reading it and a bit indifferent and not really bothered, but I am intrigued enough to know what happens next that I would pick up the second volume. The Witch's House, Diary of Ellen. Our main character Ellen has kind of a bad home life. She's very sick, and when her mum leaves, it kind of pushes her over the edge and she ends up killing her parents. Then this demon cat takes her to a house and she becomes the witch of the house, and she has to feed it human souls. This is apparently filling in the background for a game, which I didn't know before I went into this, and I didn't really have any problems with it, so I guess you can read it if you haven't played the game. The dark and grim colour pages definitely drew me in. The art style is kind of a mix of cute and creepy. I liked how the expressions on the characters are drawn, particularly the sinister ones and the more twisted ones. As for Ellen, I do really feel for her, but man, that first chapter is twisted. I got why she was acting the way she did. Her character is quite interesting psychologically, if not a bit messed up and creepy, but then again, at the same time, examining her past and her home life, you can see why. We basically see in this volume a little bit of how she grew up, what is wrong with her, how she kind of twisted and changed and started on her dark path. Like, she seems normal at points and you feel for her and it's really sad, but then at others she seems completely freaking unhinged, like when she kills her parents, for example. While this is super dark and grim and our main character goes on an interesting journey, this volume is hugely about setup, giving you the backstory on Ellen and how she became the witch of the house and how she started feeding it human souls. I wasn't that into it and I was kind of bored, but the sinister overtones and the creepy air to it and the sense of foreboding and the sense that it was building up to something, at least in the beginning, did keep me reading. And then I was curious about the house and what the deal was with the house and the cat, but I basically spent a lot of this volume waiting for things to happen. Last up is Dive. In order to stop their diving club from being closed, they have to have one member qualify for the Tokyo Olympics in 2020, and in this volume we swiftly have that laid out for us, along with them meeting a new teammate and a new coach. Said new coach obviously starts whipping them into shape, and it's not long before she has our main character Tomo aspiring for new heights. Don't get me wrong, he seems to merrily go along to training and he seems pretty invested in diving, but in the beginning he really doesn't seem that competitive about it. He seems to just do it because he just likes to go there and just like forget shit, which is, you know, fair enough. Do what you want to do, but doesn't seem the right attitude to have when you're part of a diving club that does competitions. Yoichi, in contrast, seemed quite competitive. He is also basically perfect, but over the course of the volume you see the level of pressure that he is under by his dad, who happens to be a coach, and I'm actually waiting for him to snap, to be honest. I'm surprised he hasn't already. Akitsu, meanwhile, who is their new teammate, can dive, but he's quite wild with it. Like, he likes to make a really big splash, and in diving competitions the main goal is to make as little splash as possible. There is plenty of drama in just this one volume. We have friend drama with Tomo and two other divers who get a little bit jealous when Tomo has some more attention put on him because it turns out that he's like double jointed or whatever, which means he's epic at diving or has the ability to be epic at diving or something. And there's the competition where we meet a couple of other divers that they'll be up against on their road to the Olympics, and Atsuhiku, who is one of them, is extra as fuck, so I'm kind of hoping we get to see more of him. In this volume we meet our characters, we get a quick and simple crash course on diving and the rules of it. Things get shaken up for our main characters. We are swiftly on the road to the Olympics. We meet the colourful and interesting characters that they are going to have to face to get there, and who, you know, presumably we're going to see a lot more of because of that. But the volume does end on a bit of a sad note thanks to some drama, and I don't think the drama is going to end there. I feel a lot like this is trying to be the diving version of Yuri on Ice, but so far it's not quite there. But it is interesting, I'll give it that. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you have thought of these manga, if you've picked them up or which ones you're planning to pick up. I will link all of my social media down below so you can come and chat to me on Twitter and see full reviews for all of my manga on my blog. For more similar content, feel free to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next video.